Alex Poulsen. Bang on
Hello,
time.
everyone.
Alex,
Hi.
thanks for joining us.
No problem.
How are you doing, all right?
Good, very well, thank you.
Good stuff. Right, first things first. I know what your name is, but who are you and what do you do?
So I'm the CEO of a company called INDE, and we've been developing what's called augmented reality systems in entertainment and education since the dark ages of augmented reality in 2009.
Okay, definition time, because we've talked about various types of reality and how technology can bend those, perhaps.
Yeah.
Define augmented reality for me.
So augmented reality is the overlay of digital content onto a real-world camera view,
Okay.
which is very, very different to virtual reality, which I think you're going to be touching on later as well.
Yeah, well, virtual reality is when you are kind of totally transported into a digital world. There's not very much that's real, at least real-time real there.
Absolutely. So AR is really about augmenting what you're seeing. And you can obviously augment that with things like 3D content, with video. You can augment it with sound technically as well.
Okay, should we see some?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we see some? Come on then. Right, let's have our first bit of stuff on the screen, please. So, hello. That was quick.
Quicker out today.
Hello, Sailor. My monitors, they're expensive. Okay, so tell me what's happening here, Alex.
So this is what we call our BroadcastAR system, and this was some content and a system that we built for the BBC to launch Walking with Dinosaurs 2-3 years ago.
Walking with Dinosaurs, yes,
Yeah,
I remember
the film.
that.
Yeah.
Big thing, yeah.
So what we've done is we've set up a camera which is above the screen here, and then focusing on us. And then we're overlaying 3D virtual FX content onto that camera view. So what it's effectively doing is placing you inside a 3D environment without you having to download anything, press anything, interact with it.
So whereabouts would you see this? I mean, this isn't the kind of thing you would have in your living room. This is quite a dedicated installation, I guess.
It is, yeah, it's experiential, and it's something that we've had installed in places like Universal Studios. We have it in the Smithsonian Museum in DC.
Sure.
We're at Beijing Aquarium. We've had a system there for 2-3 years. So we're varying different content packages that actually get placed within. And obviously, bearing in mind it's dinosaurs, it's all developed in photoreal 3D rather than obviously real footage.
Do you know, we had these up on the screen yesterday, and somebody came by at the end and said, you know what? The dinosaurs look more real than you and I do on this screen.
Yeah, they do. And I think we also had a little girl here who had to, she got quite upset and actually left.
And she was about 4 or 5 or something
Absolutely.
like that. The thing that I really like here is the detail. I mean, we've talked about how accurately these are rendered.
Yeah.
But we've got shadows, shading, and we've got sound as well. And sound is 50% of the picture, you hear some videographers say.
It really is. I think we've kind of found that when we've run the same content, which is as photoreal as we can possibly create it, without the sound, you lose a layer of the interactivity and the immersion. It's quite arresting. Well, generally you don't hear dinosaur noises, but to hear them on kind of very loud speakers is kind of quite an arresting experience.
Now this stuff is pre-rendered, isn't it? What do you mean by that?
So effectively, when you're building animation, you have 2 kinds of animation. You have pre-rendered animation, which is what you see in films, things like Pixar, for example, which is you develop the content, and then you output it to a scene, and then the scene plays over and over and over and over again. Now, the alternative to that is something called live render content. Now, there's rendering engines, things like Unity, which will effectively live render content in real time.
Now,
so
Unity,
you can manipulate it.
You mentioned Unity. That, for people who don't know, that's a big... this is a cultured Gadget Show live audience. Lots of people know what Unity is. It's a big gaming engine, loads and loads of mobile games, and also PC and console games made in Unity.
Yeah, Unity kind of democratized 3D creation. It came down to a price point which allowed lots of kind of home developers to create 3D, and it kind of allowed thousands of games, hundreds of thousands of games to be developed.
Love the sound, like you say, that sound is a massive part of this. Amazing. Now, one thing that I can't do with this is interact with it. But we've got another demo that we're going to talk about in a second that does allow us to interact with it. So introduce us to this guy while we're getting set up, please.
So this is Sean. He's a character, an alien character that we created 2-3 years ago now, which allows us to simulate the idea of live controlling an animated character in real time in this space.
Okay.
So an actor is effectively creating the motions and the speech for this animated character.
So you've got an actor somewhere
Yep.
who is doing kind of like motion capture-y type stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen this stuff in the movies, well, you know, kind of like the making of movies, where you've got people who are in a green screen room, they're wearing those funny suits that have got balls on them and computers are tracking them. That's the same sort of tech that you've got going on here, yeah?
There's kind of two basic forms of motion capture. One is the idea of tracking with a camera array, kind of similar to a rig like this, and measuring my movement as I walk across the stage with markers. And the second system, which is the one that we use, which is a suit-based version. So effectively, the actor is actually wearing a motion sensor suit, and we're able to actually track his movements and then relay them across to the character.
Okay.
And it's true, obviously, you know, the animation industry, it's been around for a while. The idea of taking it out of the studio and placing it out into the real world is something relatively new.
Sure, sure. And we're looking at an alien here, quite a cute one.
Yeah.
Why, with your, I guess this was your first iteration of playing with this technology.
Yeah.
Why did you choose an alien?
Well, you kind of run into a couple of issues when you start developing 3D. When you start to create humanoid characters, you realize that creating photoreal humans in 3D, here's Sean, people are actually quite repulsed by the idea of a photoreal 3D character, and it's called the uncanny valley.
Let's come back to the uncanny valley in a moment, because it's a fascinating topic. But in the meantime, hey everyone, Sean's here.
Hey, Birmingham! It's great to be here at the Gadget show. And what a great looking audience we have. It's like looking out at the Oscars. Only instead of a sea of black ties and ball gowns, it's prescription glasses.
Thank you very much indeed, Sean. So, Sean, let's have a look at your movements. You know, let's see what you can do.
Hey, I've been working out. I got all the moves. Check out this little tushy. Look at it. Put on a little
Sorry
weight
about that.
since Easter.
That's unfortunately what happens with Sean. He ultimately created this character, and this is what we have to live with.
Okay, so he's quite cool. He's interactive, but we like going behind the scenes.
Hey, watch it, pal. Give me my space.
And peering behind the curtain here. So what we've got is a camera set up backstage so we can see the other Sean, the actor Sean. If we can see the other Sean, please.
Oh, look at that guy. He's trapped in a box.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very well. So, tell me what it's like as an actor to embody an alien in real time, to have yourself projected onto the big screen like this.
Well, it's a lot of fun, because I can get to wear this snazzy little outfit, which doesn't look so good out in the real world.
Alex, talk to me about what we see here, because you were talking about the whole motion capture thing a second ago.
So I think what you can see along his arm there is you can actually see some of the sensors that are strapped onto his body. The Lycra is just the kind of addition that we make him wear. So effectively, each sensor is measuring a limb movement, a part of a limb movement, and then translating it across, actually rendered into Unity, and then actually, you know, mimicking the.
So you're still using Unity here?
Absolutely,
in real time.
yeah. This is all live rendered content.
Fantastic, fantastic stuff. Again, Sean, the actor, you know the way that digital technology is going. Are you finding that there's more and more work as an actor in motion capture work? You know, maybe animating characters for computer games and for experiences like this?
Absolutely. There's a lot of green screen work now that gets used, and it's just a whole new environment to use the same sort of skills.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a warm round of applause for Sean the actor?
Thank you very much. You're all beautiful. Mwah!
Okay, go away now. Go
Bye,
away.
Sean.
Bye-bye.
Right, Alex, come here. Now Sean the actor's gone. I don't think he can hear us.
No.
Thinking about the future here, you know, we were talking about how what the next step for actors is, working motion capture and stuff.
Yeah.
When you had Sean on the screen,
Yep.
what about artificial intelligence? You know, what about machine learning? What about these bots that have been in the news so much over the last week or so? I know he was a bit cheeky, but these bots from Microsoft have been a bit cheeky.
They're one level on, I think.
How long before you don't need to have a guy in a mocap suit and these creations that you're augmenting can actually interact with you based on computer learning?
I think there's levels of it that are happening already now. I think one of the things that we found when we're basically building environments for people to interact with 3D is that the content is all important.
Yeah.
Now, 3D is one level, but also the actual interaction you have and the conversation that you have is incredibly powerful. So AI is not at that level where you can converse properly. You may converse, but there's actually no real character behind it that you identify with. And that, again, going back to the uncanny valley, you're running into these very odd environments.
Sure, let's just, before we move on, let's pick up on that point.
Yeah.
Who's heard of the uncanny valley here? No, it's not a place that you visit in the United States. You were saying earlier on, it's this phenomenon where you see computer animated characters that are almost human-like, but not quite, and we have a physical reaction to them.
Yeah, we're actually repulsed by them when we see it. There's a certain crossing point, and there are kind of graphs that we can discuss. But it's the idea of when you hit a certain point of photorealism with a humanoid, you suddenly don't like it anymore, and you're physically repulsed by it, and then you stop wanting to be near it. Now, from the systems that we build, that's a very, very dangerous area for us to be in because we're creating engagement.
Yeah.
So it's the exact opposite of where we want to be.
Which is why you see caricatures, which is why you embody aliens and things like that.
Exactly. So Sean was a great example of how we looked at, what is something that you're not going to meet? What is a character you're never going to meet, but a character that you would love to meet and will identify with?